last night, a Kinyan Siyam. Sometimes you have to hear what goes on out there. There's a Kinyan Shir that as we in our Shir stop Sunday nights, because Sunday nights is challenging. So this year they stopped Sunday nights. They said they're going to use Sunday nights chazara of previous Mesechtes. Okay. So they learned Mesechtes Brachos 6.5 years ago. They started. They finished 4 years ago. And for the last 4 years, every single Sunday night, they've been doing Chazara, and they just finished Chazara Mesechtes Brachos. Absolutely wild. It's Kinyan 10 years. Kinyan is 10 years old. Oh, the Balabas is still. He's one of the first 10 Chaburas. One of the first 10 Chaburas. But you should know, I don't know how the chat was over the weekend, but one of the things that we are machazik with the Siyum last night, I went to Siyum, I went to speak over there, was their chat. They didn't really have a chat in a matziv. So we were doesn't have a phone, doesn't have a cell phone, doesn't have a cell phone, doesn't have a cell phone. Yeah. And a bunch of the guys don't have a cell phone. So Lamaisa, we upgraded that they're going to start chazar with accountability. So don't think that we're ahead of them, and we will continue. And actually told them that in our chabura we have the Ilim sends in chazara, Baruch Hashem. So let's keep it up. I want to start. We're up to Lamitesam and Beis, the very top. Let's start with the Mishnah for a quick running head start. Out of a difficult sugya. But as you're going to see today, a lot of what we spoke about, which we do purposely, it's good to speak out different ideas, even if they're going to end up being mistakes. We're going to see the Gemara is going to deal with them in a very real way. So let's get there. Zakte Heilige Mishnah on the bottom of Lamites Amid Aleph. Halakeach lula mechavira b'shviyas noisin loy esrog b'matan. And by the way, just the $1 million question that everyone asked. Why are you allowed to buy a lulav? And I think around the table it was suggested, maybe it has to do with another fruit. We're going to see, hopefully today, that the Gemara is going to ask that kasha. And maybe the Gemara is not going to be happy with saying it's just a fruit. We're going to get there in Amir Tashem a little bit. Erev Tov of David. So says the Mishnah, why? So the Mishnah says, you're not allowed to buy it with Shemitah. Says the Gemara, Loi ratza liten lei b'matana. Loi ratza liten lei b'matana ma'u. What is the halacha if you don't want to give it as a matan? Again, this is a quick chazara. We swallow the value of the esrog in the lulav, period. Asks the Gemara, why don't you pay for it openly? Answers the Gemara, you're not allowed to give the money of Shemitah to Na'am Haaretz. And we spoke about why not. What's the problem with giving Demei Perish Shvius to Na'am Haaretz? So Rashi spoke out that the reason is that the Am Haaretz might use the cash inappropriately, because the cash has kedusha, and they might use the cash. Erev Tov of Sruli. I thought you were on Zoom. Fascinating. They might use the cash for the wrong reasons. Erev Tov of Yaakov. Titania, you're in the middle of a chazara. It's Monday night. You're in the middle of a chazara. Titania, ein moisrim demei perish shvius ha'maretz. Now that I give the value, 3 lines in the bottom of Tesam and Aleph, of the fruits of Shemitah Ha'maretz, yisrim yimazin shalosh sudais, more than the amount of 3 sudas. And we spoke, what is 3 sudas? We spoke that 3 sudas is the amount that one would need for their Shabbos meals. And even if you're not buying it for Shabbos, but the Nekuda is that Shabbos is how we define a person's needs. Mayridik ve'masar. And let's say you give more than that amount to an Amaretz. Ye'amar, you should say, where's it just talking about Malachis? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehakol nihiyeh b'dorei. Amen.
As in, there's no
No, we were hacking. Someone had onions with a fleshka knife on their milk pizza, and I wanted Epis to maybe be mitzaref the chiyuv lava malcolm. Okay, says the Gemara. V'masar yomer, if you get more than 3 meals, what do you say? Harimoyi salalu, these monies, you muchulalin al pir sheish b'tuch beis. This is really where we ended. So if you give more than the amount you're allowed to give to the Am Haaretz, you say that the excess should be deconsecrated. The kedusha should be transferred on fruit that I have in mine, who's me, not the Am Haaretz's house. And then, uba v'oichlan, and that which you transfer the kedusha onto, you go and you eat it, the kedushas shavis. Period. Says the Gemara. Now we're going to take a little bit of a deep dive into the halachos of Shemitah. A little bit complicated, but let's hold on, not so difficult. Bamed divarim amurim beis dalet alif. Bamed divarim amurim. When is this said? When is what said? The halacha that we just said that you're not allowed to buy from an Am Haaretz more than the amount of 3 meals. Says the Gemara, biloy keach, when you are purchasing min hamufkar, from hefker. Now, this doesn't really make any sense. If it's hefker, how am I purchasing? So the answer is the Amaratzim aren't silly. They know that the Gevirim aren't going to go out to the fields and collect the produce. So it's Shemitah. Everything, what's the halach of Shemitah? Everything's hefker. So I go, I want to make a few bucks. I go out to the fields and I see, look at that, esrog field, wide open. I go and I take my basket and I collect 100 esrogim. And then I hang up a sign in shul. New business, esrogim from sale. Now, where did the esrogim come from? Min mufkar, from hefker. Now, why is that so critically important? Because look at the next line. Min hamishumar. But if you purchase it from mishumar, what's mishumar? The opposite of hefker, which is what? It's guarded, shamur. It's guarded, which, of course, is aser. Are you allowed to guard your field on Shemitah? Absolutely not. You have to make the field hefker. You have to make your field ownerless. So if you go and you do what's incorrect and you guard it, then you know what the halacha is. Afilu b'kechatzi iser. Iser is a type of coin. Even the amount of a half an iser, it's like a half a quarter. Even the smallest denomination is aser. Is aser. What? Yes. Why is it aser? We have the word iser. Who remembers? Oh, very good. Where?
Hey, on the esrog.
On the esrog. Very good. Very good. 2 points. 2 points. Give that man an extra piece of sushi. Like a coin. It is aser. Now, why is it aser? It's aser because he did an iser. It gets a little confusing with the word iser. But again, what happens? I own a field. What do I have to do on Shemitah? Make it hefker, make it ownerless. If I don't make it ownerless, then what's halacha? I can't sell it for anything. Now, just parenthetically, and I don't want to get sidetracked over here. What does it sound like? It sounds like you can't sell it, but can you eat it? It sounds like, yes. It sounds like if you went and you inappropriately guarded your field, you're not allowed to, but you went and you did not make your field hefker. Are you allowed to now eat the produce? So I would have thought, no. This is like, we know you're not allowed to cook a job. If someone tells you you're not allowed to eat the food. Many halachas. But I would have thought that if I went and I guarded my produce, it's aser on the chefsel, we would call it. It's an iser on the item. It sounds from our Gemara, this is a massive machlokes rishonim. It sounds from our Gemara, you'd be allowed to use it. Okay.
I know it's Shemitah Shiloh, but is there any Indian to go out to the fields and collect?
No.
No Indian.
No. This didn't need to be mafkarit. That's where in the last few years, a lot of these organizations have said, you want to be Mekayim Shemitah. How are we Mekayim Shemitah? We don't own property in Eretz Yisrael. So they came with a Gavaldik Achap, and you have to be careful to buy the ones from a Hechsher. Because
not buying stuff, right?
No, that's one way. Another way is I could go, what if I went and I bought a little piece of field, a dollar by dollar, a little square of field in Eretz Yisrael, and then I don't work it because I don't have anything to do with it. Then our moms be kind the pasuk in the Torah. So last Shemitah, Karen HaShvius actually facilitated that they allowed people to buy and they made illegal transactions. You just have to be careful because there was also a lot of crooks doing this, a lot of random people that were quote unquote selling. This is like,
You need this flat on
yeah,
that.
like
That
plant,
somebody else.
yeah, like plant a tree foundation. Yeah, plant a tree in Eretz Yisrael. You're not planting no tree. You're not doing none. You're giving the guy some money to buy who knows what. So you got to be careful. But there was real organizations that halachically they went and they sold the land, and it's Gavaldi even put a marker on it. This is your field, Gishmak. So what do we just learn? We just learned an incredible halach that Shemitah means what? You're not allowed to sell it. We learned that already. Shemitah means you have to make it hefker. Now, when you make it hefker, and now the Am Haaretz goes and collects something, that's when he could sell it for how much? The value of 3 meals. If he did not go and make it hefker, but rather he guarded it, then you can't pay him anything. Period. Asks the Gemara.
If he made his field hefker, can he then go ahead and sell something from the
For
field?
the
That's what we just learned. Now it's with
No,
3
the
meals.
guy that owns the field too.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. Oh, yeah, it doesn't make a difference.
Doesn't
Once
make-
it's
doesn't
hefker,
matter
yeah.
Who it
This
is.
is the old hefker kind of business. You got to do what you want. Once it's hefker, you can do
Is
what you
that,
want.
is that also
Real.
is that also mutter?
It is a mutter. It is the Arshel is how long it has to be hefker for. You're asking, or Yaakov is asking, Givaldik, walk outside, hefker, and go and harvest it all. Yeah, the Arhalach is how much you are allowed to do and how long it has to lapse. But hefker is real. Hefker is very real. I mean, we don't really understand it, but if you say something is hefker, it's hefker. Anyways, says the Gemara. Masiv Rav Sheishes.
Is it also hefker after you picked it?
No.
Once a person picks it, it becomes yours.
Yeah, you let it own it. You let it own it 100%. You're just not let it. The guarding is on what you sell it if you guard it. Masiv Rav Sheishes. Umin hamufkar. Gimel seudais v'sulai. And from hefker, are you only allowed to pay for 3 meals worth and nothing more? Viraminhi. I'll ask you a contradiction. Okay, we have wonderful words here. I have them written in my Gemara. These are lots of different types of vegetables. Hapi game is something called rue, R-U-E. I don't know what it is. V'hayir boizun, something called sorrel, and I don't know what it is. V'hashitin, something called asparagus. Unfortunately, I know what it is. V'chalaglagois, something called purslane, P-U-R-S-L-A-N-E. I have absolutely no clue what that is. V'hakoisabar, something called coriander, shebaharim, of the mountains. V'hakarpas, so we think it's called karpas. ArtScroll translates it as cress, C-R-E-S-S. No clue what that is. Shabanharis of the rivers. V'hagargar shel afar. That's a meadow rocket. What is a meadow rocket? I do not know. But all these wonderful entities.
That's not what it says.
Peturim min ha'maiser. The halacha is there's no dinim. Gargar shel afar is a meadow rocket. All these items are pater min ha'maiser. Now the reason is, if you look at Rashi, 3 lines from the wide lines, Rashi says, She'in chashuvim ala briois. These are entities which are not chashiv, umafkirin oisan, and people make them hefker lakol, ve'hefker batim in ha'maiser.
They not just on street all the time.
Done. Everyone. Says the Gemara.
Asparagus would be pretty expensive.
Yeah, I don't know. Asparagus, I don't really know what that means. And,
Well, gone, maybe they know it's a-
like, says the Gemara,
Like,
V'mi
I
kochin
got it 20 years ago.
mikol adam. And it can be purchased, this is the kasha, V'ni kochin mikol adam b'shvius. You're allowed to purchase it from anyone on Shemitah. Why? So we just said. What do we just say? It's hefker. Lefi she'ein ki yotze ba'en nishmar. Because there's nothing like it that's guarded. End of question. So what's the kasha? We see in the Braisa that any entity which is hefker, what are you allowed to do with it? Buy it. It says nikachin mikol adam. You can purchase it from anyone. Did the Brisa say that you could only purchase 3 meals worth? No. The Brisa said, V'nikachin mikol adam. You could purchase it. So we just finished saying that anything of hefker, how much you let it buy? 3 meals worth. What do we see in this Brisa? could buy as much as you want. Answers the Gemara, who Maisivla? He asked the Kasha, who Mifarik la? And he answered the Kasha, Bechidei Mon Shanu. The amount of Mon. What's Mon? Mon is sustenance. The amount of sustenance, meaning even though the price just said you'll have to buy it, it's the amount to sustain the person, which is how much? 3 meals worth. Ask the Gemara, my mashma, where do you see, and with this we're going to conclude, Tahai mon, that this word mon, lishna dimizoiniu. I know the word mon means mazain. It sounds nice, but what shaykhis? Says the Gemara, Dechsev, says a pasuk in Daniel, Vayman lohen hamelech, and the king provided from them, proving that the word man could mean provided, and by our brace it's going to mean the amount that sustains for 3 meals. Just, I'm not going to go right. Just look at the Gemara's next kasha. I'm going to stop and pick it up from here tomorrow. Ihachi lulav nami. Now that we finished the whole Gansa Sugya, asking Mar the Kasha the bar that everyone's since we started, why are you allowed to buy a lulav? And Amir Tashem, I'm going to pick it up from here tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow we'll get to somewhere on the top over here. I'm not here Wednesday and Thursday. I'll be back on Monday. Wednesday and Thursday, again, whether in person or not, the goal is going to be to, we'll choose a plot. And we'll try, maybe we'll go back to Amachesam and Alf. We'll start a nice chazara, a blot and a half.
The roll at like 5, 6 in the morning.
No, I could, but Wednesday I'm going to be on a plane. The Thursday I would. Thursday I will. Let's see how chazara goes. I'm going to Eretz Yisrael, close to Chicago.